So today I'm going to talk to you guys about falling. Justin and I went to Fallen this year. It was a good time. Got my show notes over here, and I'm sure Justin's pretty sure that I flaked out on making a video for him. Just takes me a while. So anyways, Fallen, a whole lot of driving. Picked Justin up. I was actually early this year. Not only was I early, I had to wake him up, I believe, with a text message. So picked him up. We had a good drive down. Do a lot of chit chat while we're on our way down. One of the big things once we got down to the host was the parking. So every other year we've gone, I usually take my truck. It's a Nissan Titan, and once in a while I have parked kind of a bit of a douchebag. And when I do that, I'm not trying to be a complete jerk or anything, but sometimes there's just nowhere else to park. This year, parking was atrocious. The host is going through renovations. Almost every parking lot has some form of construction equipment or some form of supplies for construction or is under construction itself. So we get down there. It's where did we go? We went Friday. So we get down there, found a spot way out in the back end of the parking lot, kind of where we normally end up parking. But when we first pulled into the lot, so it was windy, and there was a woman standing outside by a big sign that was saying convention parking. We pulled up, we put the window down, expecting her to tell us which way to go. Said, hey, parking looks a little bad. How is it this year? Where should we park? We got kind of a, and that was it. So in the future, guys, it'd be really good if the host, or even HMGS would direct people for parking. I know you can't tell people where to park, but something's got to change, especially if it moves from the host down to another location. It's going to get even worse. So anyways, my impressions of the host this year when we were down there, because like I said, it was under construction. Big renovation project. I've worked construction before from both sides, the administrative side and the construction side. One of the big things that I noticed was they've got work going everywhere. And I'm actually fairly impressed. The hosts, that they're able to put on these type of events while they're actually undergoing construction to this degree. There were some parts where you walk through the hotel itself and you realize you were getting really cold. Well, here it's open to the outside. Not a huge deal for us. We dress in layers when we go down, so it's not a make or break type thing. Layout's a little weird, and I know once again that comes down to just the general construction, where they're doing construction, what's open, what's available. So you're walking all over the hotel. Little difficult to get to registration. It was like right in the middle of the convention. It's kind of where it normally is, except you can usually come in the front doors. But we came in through a side door that we knew was open. So it worked out for us. The hotel rooms was kind of a surprise. So we didn't stay at the host ourselves. We stay at the Red Roof, which is maybe, I don't know, like a quarter mile down the road. It's a little cheaper, but the rooms aren't that great. One of our buddies, he volunteers for HMGS, and he said, hey, you got to come check out the rooms. So we go in, and I kid you not, his room was like an executive suite. It was twice the size of our room at the Red Roof Inn. It was really nice. I thought, man, this is banging. Like, I wouldn't mind doing this. So, you know, we may be volunteering just to try to get the free hotel room for Cold Wars. You know, like I said, the rooms are nice. He had his kids helping. One of his oldest son was helping him, so he was actually kind of nice for him because he got his own room, and you know, they were swimming, they were having all kinds of fun. So it was definitely like a good time for them. Big thing for the convention for us, not necessarily for Coal Legion, but for me, was taking advantage of Firelock games. The opportunity to go down, buy the stuff. They had one of their guys was up from Florida doing demos. They had partnered with one of the game vendors. They were handing out free miniatures from the Kickstarter. Now, this is something that kind of bothers me about Kickstarters. When it's a Kickstarter exclusive, it shouldn't be given out at shows. Granted, we had to purchase something. So it was every purchase, you got a free miniature from the Kickstarter. So for me, it was the, let me see here, I think I have it right here. Yep. Because I'm already working on it. It's probably really bright because of my lights here. But it's the female sea dog. She's got a pistol and a cutlass. So she's going to be added to my pirates, which I've been building up. So that's the only thing I have like an issue with. I'm glad I got it, and there's some things from the Kickstarter that I won't ever get. Obviously, I didn't take part in the Kickstarter. I probably should have. A few of the Kickstarters I'm still waiting on that I've taken part in. So it was kind of nice to go down there and do that, make some purchases. I made a huge buy-in for Blood and Plunder. I think like 150, 200 bucks maybe. So one of the big things I wanted to do was we stopped at another vendor that was there called Pirate Pat's. He actually does 25% off on his website and free shipping on an order over $100, I think. My issue I had was every time I tried to put an order in on his website, it was coming up no free shipping. Talked to him briefly down there, and he said, oh, I have to refund the shipping costs because it automatically charges. Okay, so in the future, you know, okay, I'll place orders that way. I did talk to him and I said, hey, can we get the 25% off discount? Because I found your site, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole purpose I'm here, you know, to buy from you. Can I get the discount? He ended up saying that he didn't quite say yes, didn't say no, but then he pointed out that he was running a buy 3, get 1 free deal. So usually those deals, it's a, so you buy 3 items, and they're always the most expensive items on the 4 things, and the cheapest thing you get for free. Unfortunately, one of the things I was going after was the slope. Now I had been looking for the slope at a discount. Nobody really had it. You know, so I bought that from him. I bought some dice that I wanted to get. He had actually the bone colored, not the nationality ones that are like with all the filigree and stuff that are really hard to read. But he had the actual bone and the red ones. So I bought a white, you know, the bone colored. I bought the red one. My buddy Matt, he only needed a couple dice. So he said, I'll buy the other packs. So he got the same ones. And I said, all right, well, we'll do this. We'll, you know, the dice were the cheapest thing that we were buying. So I said, we'll just split the cost. So, you know, I think dice were like $12.99 through them. So it knocked the price down to like $10 a pack. Not great, not too bad. I mean, it's still something. So bought some stuff from him. Then we went around and I bought stuff at the other place, the one that was partnered with Firelock Games. You know, did a couple purchases. were told that Firelock Games wasn't there yet and they didn't have the free models, but they would remember us and we could come back. So we, I said, okay, yeah, no problem. We're pretty recognizable, even within the gaming company. Plus we had a 12 o'clock game for Blood and Plunder coming up that we wanted to go ahead and play. So here's the deal. Other times when I've gone to Fallen, $800 to $1,000, nothing for me to spend in the vendor hall. This year, I didn't really need much. Plus, like everybody else, money's tight. So I was trying to limit my purchasing. One of the things I was kind of disappointed on was the lack of discounts. Now I understand the vendor hall, there was there weren't as many vendors there, and the vendors that were there had bigger spots. So I don't know, kind of let down in a way, but I noticed there were more vendors for Blood and Plunder. And some of the vendors, it's just the stuff that it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing all of this to this show? And how many T34 85s do you need from the same company? Have you ever sold out of T34 85s? No. Are you going to sell out of T34 85s? No. You're never going to sell 100 or 120 T34 85s. And that's some of the places, and I'm using that as an example, but some of them, I walk around, I see the same stuff year and year and year again. So going to one of these booths that has new stuff, especially a new game, no, I say new game, Blood and Plunder's, like a year or two in. So it's not a huge deal. So, we did that. We did the quick walk around. And then the three of us, we wanted to zip on over to our game. Playing in the game. So it was run by Hawks. They're out of, Connecticut, northeast of here. I don't quite remember. I know who they are. They're older guys. They're really nice. They run great games. All different scales, all different genres. One year they had a Gundam game. And then that was mostly played by kids. But I'll be honest, I was kind of tempted to play it because it was big, giant, stompy robots. And they also had some Napoleon type era stuff. They've had some, North Africa, colonial games. Then I see a lot of World War II stuff, but I noticed this year they had a lot of stuff that was the 2 to 6 millimeter, game systems. I'll admit I actually like that size game system. It's a lot easier to build, a lot easier to paint. It's a lot cheaper too. 28 mil is great for skirmish, but if you're trying to throw like apocalypse games from Games Workshop or huge, like Battle of the Bastards type things, it's hard. Like, you lose motivation building and painting 300 of the same model, the same colors, just to put it on the table and just to take it right off the table. But I could paint 1,000 at 3 millimeter scale because it's only 2 colors, maybe 3. And that's counting primer, dry brush, and wash. So, I mean, the Hawks group, they run some pretty cool games. But we were there to play in a Blood and Plunder game. So my thoughts on the game. The guy running the game, really awesome. My buddy Matt and Justin, they had signed up. I don't sign up for games anymore. I learned that lesson a couple years ago. I signed up for games, and I think 3 of the 4 games I signed up for the weekend, the game groups didn't even show up. They actually canceled. So, it was nice because I was like, oh, well, I'll just sit and watch. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of people there. Nobody showed up. It was just Matt, Justin, and this guy and his kid. They popped in, they played. So I ended up having to play. I shouldn't say I ended up having to play. I ended up playing. Now I'd already played the game a little bit, watched a lot of videos, had fun with it. So we sat down, and a lot of it was, you know, seat of the pants. It wasn't like a dedicated scenario or anything. It wasn't, you know, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. So it was kind of nice in a way. The table was nice. It was a little big. I think it was like a 4x6. And then there was maybe, I want to say like 100, 120 points per side. And to give you an idea, I think it was like maybe 20 guys on each side. And then there was a lot of, you know, treasure that had to be found by the pirates. Of course, I would have liked to play the pirates, but Matt and the guy and his kid played the pirates. I ended up on I think the Spanish side with Justin, which is fine. We ended up losing. I pretty much figured we were going to lose, just because of the mission that was set up. There's no way to cover that big of a table. So we, you know, it was a good game. This is what kind of irritates me though. When I'm gaming with somebody and I don't know who they are, I try to be cool, try to be relaxed. It's laid back. It's a game. This guy would actually argue a little bit, and I know I don't want to say it's like a pet peeve of mine, but you're playing with someone else's little toys that they've taken the time, they've got an idea on how they want you to experience the game. You don't give the guy a hard time. The other thing you don't do, you do not eat greasy burgers and touch other people's models. You don't eat apples and put them down on the table and touch people's models. Show some common courtesy. That was the only drawback. I mean, the guy was pretty cool other than that, and his kid was pretty cool. You know, and I like to snack. I like to have a drink there. But I made sure, you know, my snack is like a granola bar that's not going to make a mess. And it's just to keep my blood sugar up, because, you know, I'm a fat guy, I got to eat. And then I have like a tea that I, you know, put the lid back on and put away just to keep my throat, you know, wet. And, so, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a good game. In the middle of the game, I kind of had enough, and I have to leave the table. So I went over, I grabbed our free model. The guys from Firelock Games showed up, went over, picked up all three of our models, took them back over. And then while I was over there, I happened to see the rule book, grabbed the rule book real quick, bought it, came back, threw it in my bag, because I have it digitally from Wargamer Vault, which I shared with Justin and Matt, but there's something about having the actual rule book, because sometimes looking at a screen hurts your eyes, and you can print it off, but who wants to waste their own toner for that? So one of the other big things that was a big change for this time around was the food and the drinks. So there's always bars, there's always alcohol at this thing. Something I noticed though this year, the public areas, no coolers with no alcohol. I think that was mostly because they actually had the host, you know, all these places, they make money off alcohol. So they don't want people to sit there with a cooler of beers. You know, it's a liability issue, number one. Number two, it's cutting into their dividends, you know, and their income base there. So they also had contracted food through, I think it's called Coffee. It's a local restaurant. So we grabbed, you know, food. Now, it was cooked outside. It was like a little tarped off area. It was really nice because it smelled so good. They actually had like Philly cheesesteaks. They had sausage sandwiches. You know, all this food that we as gamers really shouldn't be eating. And then they had cheeseburgers, which I'm a big cheeseburger guy. But when we got there, it was taking forever. There was no real line. So Justin and Matt, they ordered cheeseburgers, and I'm sitting there going, I want something that's going to cook easy or that's already been cooking. So I ordered some hot dogs. I like hot dogs too. Grabbed a cookie, grabbed a drink. You know, food, it wasn't overly priced. The cookie was really good. The hot dogs, they had sauerkraut with them. Everything was really good. I had already, to give you an idea, I grabbed my food, paid for it, sat down, ate it, and Justin and Matt finally came over. Matt got like burgers and fries. Justin got a burger. They look good. They smell good. I think I couldn't wait. You know, to me, I want to eat, and I want to start walking around and looking at all the tables. But there was always somewhere to get food from. Well, I think we ate there once. Then we ate again, but most of the other times we eat elsewhere. So the other thing I want to talk about is gamers. And this is going to cause a lot of problems. And I apologize because I'm sorry, but as gamers, we are nasty, rude. We don't think about other people. I'm going to give you a really good example here. This is the first year at the Host that the bathrooms were fairly clean. Now, I don't normally use bathrooms at the Host because, like I said, as gamers, we're filthy, nasty, disgusting people. This year the bathrooms were actually fairly clean. You know, good job there, the Host. You know, wasn't too bad. Friday, okay, I can handle people. Saturday morning, I think there were some people who didn't shower. I think there were some people who showed up at the convention who hadn't showered for a week. And then, you know, you have to dress appropriate. So when I say appropriate, and this is going to men, women, transgender, anybody who could be, you know, offended. Once again, I apologize. But I don't think, like, if you're walking up to me and I'm sitting and eating my hot dog, number one, you ask if a seat's taken before you sit down at the table. Number two, make sure your fly is closed. Make sure you're wearing clean underwear. I'm not kidding. Some guy walked up, sat at the table while I was eating, and he didn't even have food with him. I think he just needed to sit down for a second. But when he walked up, his fly was wide open. Now, I get it. I'm a big guy. I try to make sure, though, that my clothes are taken care of. You know, like my belt, my pants are buckled. My belt is done. My zipper's closed. Everything's covered. You're not going to see my underwear unless I'm squatting and bending over to get something. But even then, I still, you know, you reach around, you cover it up as much as possible. And if somebody does see my underwear, they're not like yellow underwear or brown underwear. They're supposed to be white. Hanes underwear, like white, you know. So that's one thing. But then you see these guys and it's like, you know, you spend all this money on a hobby. You can't even dress yourself. Like I said, gamers, we're disgusting. Saturday, and I'm even kind of Got a little nasty in my throat right now thinking about this. Vendor hall had free beer. I think it was from like 1 to 6. I thought, no, free beer, usually bad beer. Now, I admit, I'm a bit of a beer snob. I'm not like an IPA guy or anything, but you know, like I like my beer to be beer. I live 2 blocks from Yuengling Brewery, so I love a good lager. I like rum. I like moonshine. And that's about it. I'll drink wine, you know, when my mom's over, my wife and I, but you know, nothing too fancy, but I like what I like. Like I said, when somebody's giving away free beer, it's cheap, it's nasty. I don't know what to say. Although I knew when the free beer came out, within an hour, you didn't want to go in the bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom. I walked in the bathroom, and I swear there was some guy in one stall, and he was crapping himself. In the next stall, the guy was gagging. I went over to use the urinal, and I was literally like choking it down. Like I just couldn't. No. And what's worse, go to wash my hands. No paper towels. No hand thing to, you know, dry my hands. Gamers are disgusting. Fortunately, I keep paper towels and stuff in my bag, along with Purell. So, you know, I'm just throwing that out there, guys. Let's step up the personal hygiene game a little bit. The other big thing, games. You know, I don't expect there to be new games every year, but some of these areas, like the clubs that are running games, Hawks guys, phenomenal. I love what you guys do. Some of the other rooms, there's a room downstairs, I don't remember the name of the group, but they have beautiful tables. Their games are run by computers. Some guy's sitting there, and he's, you know, you tell him what you're doing, and he plugs in what you're doing in the computer, and the computer, via sophisticated Skynet algorithm, spits out what occurs. It's cool. I'd rather roll dice. But they did actually have a really cool Division game that looked like it was being played with 15 mil models, mostly Flames of War models. The Reading group, good games. They had some 6mm stuff, looked like modern, maybe even like Arab-Israeli war. It actually looked really interesting, but once again, to sit down and spend 4 hours for one game. Now, that's how much time is allocated. I could play a game for 4 hours. It's going to be the only game I play that day. I can't do back-to-back 12 hours of gaming. Everybody in the gaming group jokes because, you know, after I have my first game of the day, I gotta go take my nap. Yeah, that's fine. This is relaxing to me. So, you know, it was cool. There's some aircraft games I saw that I would love to get into, but you know, just not for me right now. Race Wars or Gas Wars or whatever it is looks really cool. This is where you take Matchbox cars, you run them, but I couldn't get into any of the games. A lot of them were busy, packed, or just not running. But we looked at some other stuff. We looked at this year. We looked at a lot of bolt action. So, and then, you know, gaming wise, that's kind of where we're at. You know, we like to walk around, check out the different games, get some ideas for tables. So the other big thing, Wally's basement. So anybody that knows me, I have a huge model collection. You know, I know there's guys that have bigger model collections than me, but I actually have so much that I store a lot of it at my mom's. In totes, I have an inventory control system. So I've been going through a bit of a purging the last couple of years, which is hilarious because, you know, we got to Wally's basement this year. I signed up for the early one. So we get into the basement. It's the amphitheater. So you either get a really brightly lit spot or it's a dark spot. We got a dark spot. Took lights this time. I actually had some things prepared. Took a hand truck to carry everything in, made things a lot easier. But you know, we got in, and it's another thing that kind of irritated me a little bit was we got in and we started opening it up, and anybody who's sold in Wally's basement, there's some unwritten rules. You're not supposed to sell anything before it starts, but vendors walk around and see what everybody else has, and you say, hey, you know the rules of the vendor hall, right? Yeah, I know, man, I know. All right, well, yeah, I want this. Just put this behind put this behind your table. I'll come over and get it as soon as the hall opens. And that's what happens. So we got in there late. We didn't have a chance to walk around, but at the same time, people didn't have a chance to walk around and look at our stuff. But I had a guy come over, and he's been there several times. And as I'm putting stuff on the table, he started to ask me prices. And I said, look, everything's marked, everything's negotiable. You know, I'm not trying to be a jerk about a lot of it. So I had an old Warhammer castle, plastic, unassembled. I got it for $200, $300, maybe 200, 250. He looks at me and he says, oh, you know those go for like 150 on 125, 150 on eBay. That's what they sell for. And I said, oh, well, okay, that's fine. And this guy, like, he was like, well, that's what I sell them for. I'm like, okay, like, I don't care what you sell them for. I'm selling, everything has a price. And then he's actually reaching in boxes as totes as we're trying to unload. And he's pulling stuff up and he's like looking at the price and and I'm thinking, all right, dude, you know, well, okay, did you want that? Like, he picked up their War Master starter armies for elves. And I was like, oh, do you want that? Because I'm thinking, oh, I'll just set it off to the side. And he looks at the price and he goes, no. So I was like, okay, fine. Took it, unloaded it. But that's what kind of irritates me. I know it's a basement. I know it's like a garage sale. It's it's a swap meet. So, but I don't go rooting around in people's stuff. I don't care if it's new in box or whatever, you know, it's uncool. But we got set up and I think we were sitting at the table for like half an hour, no sales. Of course, we're at the tail end of it. People walk through, they spend their money before they get to us. And I just didn't have a whole lot that people were looking for this year. No biggie. But then something happened, and things that I had been taken for the last couple of years that people say, oh, that's cool, and then they pass on it. Man, sold. I had some Conflict 47 15 mil stuff before they switched over to 28 mil. It's like a whole U.S. Army. But I built it for like Flames of War. Sold. The guy walked by. All right, cool. The 2 War Master starter armies for the elves. I had them marked at $60 a piece, 2 for $100. The guy walked up, looked at it. How much you want for both? $100? Take it. Didn't even think twice, just out with the cash. You know, and that's what it was like. It was like I had people just, you know, come up and, you know, and I don't want to carry shit back. I really don't. So, you know, people come up, they buy stuff. I'll work deals. I don't care. But I'm not going to really, like, drop prices. And when I say really drop prices, when I price stuff on my table, a lot of times I'm already pricing some of the stuff 25, 30% off retail. Now, number one, let's do some simple math here, guys. Point one, 25, 30% off retail. You're not going to find many websites that do that. If you do, you got to buy like $100 worth of stuff to get free shipping. Shipping is going to cost you $5 to $10. Now, if you're buying something that's $50, website gives you 10% off. Okay, it's $5. You got to pay shipping. $6.99, $7.99, handling, whatever. You're paying more than if you go to the store. You're paying like $1 more, and you got to wait for it. I can understand, totally get if your local gaming store, or you don't have a local gaming store, or if you have a local gaming store that just doesn't carry that particular model. That's great. Don't come to the basement and figure, hey, I'm gonna talk this guy down, get this model. You know, this is a $55, $75 model. I'm gonna get it for $5. Believe it or not, I got people that do that. And I love the ones that they come up, hey, the guy up there's got them for $20. I'll go buy his. Supply and demand, you know. And that's my thing with Wally's Basement. You know, and I'm not trying to be a jerk to anybody. I'm not trying to be an asshat. I'm not trying to be, you know, like a know-it-all. You know, and a lot of times, like I said, this is new in box stuff. I mean, some of it still got the shrink wrap. Shrink wrap. It's not like, oh, I built it, I painted it, looks like crap, looks like a 3-year-old did it, looked like I did it while I was drunk. You know, that's not. I mean, we're talking brand new. You're not going to find, and some of the stuff I got, you can't find it. It's out of print. So you know, yeah, that's kind of my take on Wally's Basement. For Cold Wars, we got something special coming. I'm actually probably not going to bring models to sell. What's that? I'm not bringing models? What are you bringing? So, I got laser cut stuff. I got buildings. I got bases. I got all kinds of stuff. We're bringing some of that stuff. We're gonna see how well it sells. We're gonna give it a shot. $25 for the day. What does it matter? So that's gonna take me into the very tail end of this. My general thoughts on Fallen. So Fallen, it's an enjoyable time. Probably going to continue to go. Not sure if it changes to a smaller venue. That's really going to depend. You know, I see a lot of comments online about, oh, there's no food, there's no this, oh, the host, blah, blah, blah. You know what, guys? We're going to game. Yeah, it's nice if it's a good clean room, a good clean area, but you figure you're spending, if you're paying for a day pass, it's $25 a day. Or whatever it is for the weekend for an HMGS member, $25 for the weekend, $35. For what you're paying, you're getting a good deal. You don't have to pay to play the games. If you compare it to a trip to, let's say, an amusement park with the family, well, good luck spending only $25 plus your meals. You know, what do you expect? Yeah, the host is, you know, they're remodeling it. They're going to want to charge more as soon as the contract's up. HMGS is going to have to work something out. But all in all, it's fun. Probably go to it again. Been going for the last couple years with Justin, my HMGS member myself. you know, and I think the only reason I'm a member is just to go to these conventions. I can buy a cheap ticket for the weekend, and that's it. So, you know, let me know what you guys think. You know, Justin, I told you I'd make a video. May not be the best video ever. Still playing with my setup here. You know, I know my hobby room is really dark right now. And I've been scratching on my head because my hat's really scratchy. And it's a little chilly in my hobby room. But, you know, I'm going to try to put together some videos, kind of help Justin with this YouTube channel. And look, I don't have a beer in my hand. So I'm not as giddy as I normally am. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. We'll see if we can get them answered. But all in all, I'll probably post some pictures up that I took of Fall In at the end of this video. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.